you know that I am doing a kitchen renovation, and we are finally to the part where we get to start putting in all of the pretty things. Take, for instance, a backsplash. Backsplashes come in so many varieties, and they are a great way to express personality in a room. You can have a bright, bold backsplash. You can have a monochromatic backsplash. You can do metal, you can do stones, ceramic. There are so many varieties when it comes to backsplashes. One place that has a fabulous variety is Floor Decor, and that's where I got all of my materials for my backsplash. My video today is sponsored by Floor Decor, so why don't you guys come with me on a little shopping trip to see what they have. Okay, we are at Floor Decor today. We're going to be picking out some tile for the backsplash in my kitchen. So excited. They have such a variety of choices here. So let's get inside and see what they have. One thing that they have here is a variety of vignettes so that you can see the tile actually up and in place before you purchase it. Have some less expensive ceramic options in some really great designs. So if your budget is a little tighter, they have some affordable options. I've narrowed it down to 3 final selections. This is what I've chosen. I have this subway tile. It's a little smaller. I really like the color, but because of the size, we're gonna pass on this one. Then we have this polished marble. Really love the size on this one. I don't like the sheen. It's gonna be too reflective, so our final choice is the same marble in a honed finish, which is great. It's a little more matte and it goes perfectly with my quartz that I brought from home. These are my countertops, and as you can see, they match perfectly. So this marble tile is the winner. They have all of the supplies that you need, and I am actually going to be using this Mussel bound adhesive tile mat to put my tiles up against. I've used this before and I really like it, so we're gonna go ahead and buy this as well. When installing a backsplash, the first thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that the wall that you're going to be installing on is clean, dry, and as flat as it can possibly be. To protect my countertop, what I did was I took a strip of blue painter's tape and I ran it along the edge of the wall and the top of the countertop. Then I put a piece of cardboard a little bit back. I didn't want that to be butted up against the wall because then it would add height, and I want my tile to be flat. So I moved the cardboard back a few inches, taped that down, and then on top of that, I'm going to be putting a moving blanket to protect the stove and the countertop. And then finally, I'm gonna take a rag and wipe down the wall to make sure that it's nice and clean so that the sticky backing will adhere. Now, the adhesive that I'm going to be using is a Mussel bound tile adhesive. As you saw, they had this at Floor Decor, which is where I purchased it. I had a lot of help putting this backer up. My husband and my son helped. We measured the pieces that we needed and we put them to the wall. You want to go from your countertop to as high as you want it to be. We went to the bottom of the cabinets in the majority of the spots, and then we went up to the ceiling on the parts where I knew I was going to put the tile to the ceiling. I didn't put any in the middle because that's where the hood was going to go, and I wasn't going to tile in that area. Now, as far as pros and negatives when it comes to this adhesive, this is kind of a negative part because it does take a lot of time to make sure that you get the exact measurements correct, but once it is up, it goes so fast. So just take your time during this part, be patient because it will definitely pay off in the end. So now that my adhesive is on, I can get my tiles. Now, what you're going to want to do, this is very important. On the first tile or two, especially on the first row, you're going to want to make sure that it is 100% level. I added my tile first. I got a level, I placed it on the top. Once that was 100% level, I added the second one right next to it, placed the level on top, and continued on during the first row. I put the level over the top and I made sure that it was 100% even. The reason why it's important to have your first row 100% level, or as close as you can get it, is because everything is going to build on top of that. So if it's a little ski-wampus at the beginning, it's gonna be crooked as you go towards the top. So make sure that the first row is level. Now, as I continue to build up and to add my tiles, I did check every now and again to make sure that it was still level, which it was. As I continued to add the tile, what I did was I took some scissors and I just cut the protective coating off of the sticky backer. That way I didn't have a lot of area exposed. Subway tile is really great for beginners because it's just rectangular, and so you don't have to do that many cuts. I did get a wet saw, and the majority of the cuts that I had to make were just in half. So if you're looking for an easy beginner level tile to work with, a subway tile is fantastic. To lay this entire backsplash, it took me about 10 to 12 hours, and I did do it over the course of 2 days. One nice thing about that adhesive is that you can just leave it up on the wall and come back the next day and it's good to go. Once my tiles were set, I wanted to do a pre-grout sealer. Floor Decor has a large variety of tile and grout sealers at affordable prices. It's worth it to protect those tiles from the grout, especially if you're going to be using a dark grout. It will protect the tile from the grout seeping into the tile. So I sprayed this over all of my tiles. I let it set for about 5 minutes to absorb into the tile, and then I wiped it off with a microfiber towel. After the grout sealer was dry, it's time to add the grout. Now, the grout that I selected was an unsanded Avalanche color grout. The unsanded grout is perfect for small grout lines because it can fit right inside. So I mixed up my grout according to the directions, and then I got a grout float. I put the grout onto the grout float, and then I pressed it into the lines between the marble tiles. I went in a crisscross direction. That way, each line was filled with the grout and I didn't miss any spots. Once all of the grout lines were filled, I waited for about 20 minutes and then I wiped it off with a sponge. I also used a toothbrush. I know that's a little unconventional, but the toothbrush helps to scrub off that grout that has dried just a little bit, that's harder to get with the sponge. The soft toothbrush gets that grout off really well. Another recommendation is to swap out your bucket of water frequently. That way you always have clean water and you're not putting dirty grout water back on as you're trying to wipe it off. After the tiles dry, there can be a little bit of film that is left on the tiles. Just get a microfiber cloth and wipe it off. It will come right up. I let my grout dry for 24 hours before I once again used that sealer. I spread that sealer all over my tiles and the grout. I let it sit for about 5 minutes and then I wiped it off with that microfiber cloth. I would definitely recommend using a sealer. I think that especially in high traffic areas, this backsplash is right behind my stove. We use our stove all the time and I have white grout, so I want to make sure that it is able to be cleaned and to repel all of those splatters that are going to splash up. So I would definitely recommend using a sealer. Once the sealer was dry, we're done. That's it. As far as DIY projects go, this is an easy one. You'll also be able to save yourself a lot of money doing it yourself. If you're not confident doing a large backsplash like this, just find a little teeny tiny spot in your house and give it a try. It will be worth it and you'll be able to do it. One of the things that we have not yet done is put back the outlets correctly, so don't look at those right now. We're gonna be fixing that shortly. I am absolutely in love with this backsplash. It was the right tile to choose. It goes perfectly with my quartz countertops. I'm gonna give you a sneak peek right now of this wall. I have it painted. The hood is up and I absolutely love it. We've got the tall cabinets with the thick crown molding at the top. We have the cabinet lights installed. And my favorite part is that gold pot filler right in the center of the backsplash. I am almost finished with the rest of the kitchen. So if you want to see the final reveal, make sure that you are subscribed so that you can see everything when I am all done. I will definitely give you a kitchen tour. Well, I hope you enjoyed designing with me today, shopping with me today, and installing this backsplash. And I hope it gave you some confidence to know that you can do the same. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for watching.